A very warm welcome to the new episode of Ink and Insights. This is your host Sumit Sharma Samir. If you are interested listening to the thought leaders from around the world as well as Nepali entrepreneurs working on diverse field, please subscribe to my channel. I'm extremely pleased to welcome Khem Lakai in my program today. Khem Lakai is the founder and CEO of the Global Academy of Tourism and Hospitality Education in Nepal, an institution recognized globally for its excellence in hospitality education. Gate College has received accolades such as the most innovative training program in 2011 and was a finalist for the Best Professional Success Awards in 2015 at the World Hospitality Awards in Paris. Khem is dedicated to fostering education that promotes dignity and independence, particularly for young people, individuals with disabilities, and those seeking a second chance. His academic background spans commerce, hospitality, and technical and vocational education and training from Nepal, Switzerland, Australia, and Canada. As the current chairman of the PATA Nepal chapter, he has also served on the board of trustees and as a board member of at PATA headquarters in Thailand. Kem, welcome to Ink and Insights with Sumit Sharma Shamir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samirji. Thank you.
Let's begin by understanding what inspired you to become an entrepreneur in Nepal's hospitality and tourism sector.
Well, entrepreneur came later. I always wanted to become a teacher, human capital development, play a small role in developing our human capital. And that led me to be an entrepreneur because that is the only way you could do. With all the freedom and all the vision could be materialized because if you have your own institute, the way you want to do it. That's how it all started.
Right, right. Was there any, defining moment in your career that shaped your approach to hospitality?
In fact, mm, it came quite early before even my education in Switzerland. I started my career with Sulti Oberoi at that time. Oberoi used to manage the current Sulti Hotel, and I was the first batch of apprenticeship, Oberoi apprenticeship at that time. So that's how I fall in love with this profession. Then I realized that, well, with this apprenticeship training, I can go this far. I need a formal education. And in pursuit of such a formal education, I added some other training on my portfolio, and then one thing led to another. I got an opportunity to study in Switzerland, and that was my formal education into the hospitality industry. And my love with hospitality got only deeper, and I had my stint of career in Europe and in North America. And then finally, I decided to return back to my roots. And I wanted to give this opportunity to our youth, or if you like to say that, the opportunity that made me who I am, I wanted to share that success with others. So that's how everything came into happening.
Right. Um, what challenges did you face while establishing your business, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I salute to everyone who becomes successful in doing anything they do in this country. So challenge is anything that in other functional country you get supported, you are supported. And here it's quite the contrary. If you make anything successful, you attract a lot of enmities and discomfort and a lot of those things. And so every step that you walk one step forward, you stumble upon one problem to another. And what happens to you is you become resilient. It's not the bad thing, facing challenges is not necessarily a bad thing. You become more innovative, you become more resilient, but only necessary thing there is you're so clear about what you want to do and why you want to do this, and then that gives you a strength to continue with whatever you want to do. So that was my case too. And so starting with the policies, the clarities, and all the other political instabilities, the mindset about hospitality, understanding about this whole profession, everything works against you. But if I look back myself, where we were in 19 years back and where we are now, the good news is, yes, you can play a role. You can change the mindset. You can set the example, and facing challenge is not going to make you weak. It makes you only stronger, and that is my lesson learned, I think.
Right, right. And KMG, you know that Nepal is known for adventure tourism. But what other NIS have potential for growth? So, what are the other sectors that have our potential for growth?
Yeah. Well, adventure. Honestly, when people think Nepal, they think about Mount Everest and mountaineering and pew trekking, and that's it. But Nepal is more than the mountains. Nepal ticks all the boxes that people who travel look for. This is a cultural destination. This is a mindful destination. This is a well-being destination. This is a soul-searching destination for individuals who want to get lost in an untouched, vast land. This is a living museum. People can go to hundreds of years old civilization that you can only read in the book. And so it's full of possibilities. And as you rightly mentioned, adventure is very important for people because it has been increasingly understood that adventure is the way that heals people. And because the next big challenge in human civilization is going to be a mental problem. People aren't happy, people are not connected with their core of being. And so adventure is something that heals people from within, something that challenges your existence. And keeps you bringing back to who you are, what are your strengths, what are your limitations. And Nepal definitely, be it the mountaineering, be it with canoeing in a beautiful river, going to a trek, or getting lost in a community homestay. Every possibilities can teach individuals about their vulnerability, about their existence, and being in touch with themselves. And this is what Nepal is, definitely.
Right. And Kimji, how have tourist demographics changed in Nepal over the last decade?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. One static kind of tourism. People always love, if they want to, if they are mountaineering, they climb mountains. They come in particular season that remain the same. But other than that, there's solo travelers who have been renowned for, we were awarded, recognized as a female solo traveler destination, which comes as a feather in our hat. It shows that our culture, our community, our country is safe for solo female traveler. That's a new segment. This will attract a huge pool of young, independent, vibrant people to come and travel. Um, it has been increasingly popular for community tourism. So the number of community homestay spread all across Nepal are improvising, hosting people who would like to contribute and see the country from the eyes of local. This has become a growing trend. And also, you must have noticed that the spiritual travelers, the soul seekers, if you may want to call it, even those who are attracted by Buddhism philosophy, there are a number of celebrities. They came here for Buddhism teaching or to do the meditation, to do some Ayurveda healing. Those kind of things are quite popular now. Or be the backpacker, be the bicycler, be the nomad, a digital nomad. Everything is happening. Everything that the millennial from the Gen Z, those who want to find purpose, and as long as there is internet and their laptop, people come here to enjoy the nature, enjoy the culture, enjoy the food, enjoy everything, and at the same time, I spend some time not only as a tourist but immersing themselves into the culture, into the nature. This trend is growing. Yes.
Right. And how does Nepal compare to other South Asian destination in terms of hospitality?
Um, um, Culturally and historically, we have one advantage. We Nepalese love to celebrate the similarities and the differences. So we are actually very interesting group of people. We have unity in diversity, meaning when it comes to celebration, we have almost 500 festivals, and that taught us to be tolerant, to be respectful, to be inclusive to others' culture and opinion and their faith and their celebration. We participate and we celebrate the difference, which is very unusual in the world where we're living today. People are so much self-centered. They are not willing to celebrate the success of others, the celebration of others. So this makes this country interesting. And on top of that, we're very open-minded, welcoming, and we are curious, and we are quite warm with the other people. So that makes this country a destination that is very amicable for all kinds of travelers. And among the South Asia, that the core question, comparison, that's the comparison. You cannot see very much of what I've just mentioned. Those are the Nepalese strength. Yes.
Right, right. And how important is service quality for Nepal's tourism industry, and where can improvements be made?
Well, lot, I must say. I've only highlighted the part of who we are as a nature, but as an
Right.
industry, we also must not forget that we have to be competitive, we have to be innovative, we have to be mindful about our offerings. Most of our industry is offering what they like to offer, but they need
Mhm.
to start thinking from what tourists like to see. And it's like, I can give you an example. Tamil is a beautiful hub where any tourist who come to Nepal will not miss Tamil, right? And so
Yeah.
there was a good beginning that no traffic, and then I was even hoping that one day they will pave the blacktop with a nice stone slate, and then people could freely walk and everything. That was my imagination, but this didn't last long, and people wanted their motorbike, their car to go to their footstep, and it doesn't give the opportunity for a destination like Tamil to scale up from good to great. It
Right.
comes back to mediocrity again. And so I, as a tourist, if I go to a place like that, I want to walk freely without being afraid of the motorbike honking behind, or the car coming and tapping the horn. I don't like. So
Right.
so if I see from touristic perspective, this is what tourists like. But we are selling something, and what we like. And so that conflict is continuing. And let's go a little far away from Kathmandu. If you go to a place like Sikles, or you go to a beautiful mountain villages, people are competing about who will make the next big tall concrete building. Where if I'm a tourist, I don't want to go to Sikles to see another 5-story glass building. I want to see
Mm.
what this place has to offer that blends to the nature. Well, I don't want to go to Jomsom and see the green glass building that you see it in Back Bazaar, because for me that Jomsom is a Thakali heritage. They have their own architect, they have their own identity. That's what you call it, a personality of a destination, right? So
Sure.
the people living there, they want to build what they see in Kathmandu or Pokhara, and so that's their idea. But if you want to introduce that destination for an upscale destination, conscious destination that appeals to tourists, we need to have this very clear idea that tourism offering is not about what I want. It's about what tourists would like to see, what they would call it attractive, not what I call it attractive. So we are in a conflict with that.
तिमीसँग अब धेरै टाइम छैन है, बिहे गर्नु छ भने गरिहाल, नत्र घरबाट मलाई अन्तै बिहे गरिदिनु।
भर्खर 3 वर्ष भयो एमबीबीएस जोइन गरेको, 5 वर्षको कोर्स हो। के भो? अचम्म छ। एक्सक्युज मी सर, सर मेरो 5 वर्षको कोर्स 3 वर्षमा सकाउन मिल्दैन?
गेट आउट।
हेलो,
के सोच्यो त?
के सोच्ने? मैले प्रिन्सिपलसँग पनि कुरा गरिसकेँ। 3 वर्षमा पनि केही हुन्छ? के हुन्छ 3 वर्षमा?
के भयो भाइ? ल बस। साउजी एक कप चिया। कसले भन्यो 3 वर्षमा केही हुँदैन भनेर? यो हेर, एलआइसी नेपालको धनवृष्टि योजनामा 3 वर्षमा पैसा फिर्ता हुन्छ।
ए हो र?
जीवन बीमाको साथमा धनवृष्टि 3 वर्षमा एलआइसी नेपालको धनवृष्टि योजना। एलआइसी नेपाल।
Warm services to delight your senses. Taking hospitality to newer heights. Nepal Airlines.
Right. And how can, Nepalese hospitality businesses balance tradition with modern service expectations?
The first of all, there are non-negotiable universal factors. We must understand that. It doesn't matter tourists decide to just stop over in Muglin and to hop a local meal, or they want to go to five-star, or they want to go to street food, whatever. The fundamental non-negotiable is the food that is being offered, whether to be a tourist or to a local person, it has to be safe for consumption. So when I'm saying safe, it is not contaminated, is fit for human consumption. So that is first when I come. And if similarly, whether it is a tea lodge, tea house, or a non-star lodge, or a five-star hotel, the way you brand it, there are some universal principle of what you need to offer. So one step above a non-negotiable comes your taste, comes your functionality. So if I'm staying in a two-star hotel in a lakeside, I deserve the right to sleep in a peaceful night. Next neighbor can be a nightclub. You cannot play a loud music and disturb my sleep. Those are the fundamental rights of a tourist. So maybe there are young people who would like to party all night. That's their choice. But the authority, those people who monitor these offerings, where should I license a nightclub where it's going to be noisy in the night, versus where can I go with my family and sleep peacefully after 10 o'clock, preferably, right? And we have this conflict all over. People are self-centered. If I'm running a nightclub, I want this nightclub to run throughout the night, right? And but if I'm running a small lodge or a non-star hotel, and if I invested something, I deserve a peaceful night that my guests can sleep without complaining. And so we're always in conflict. And so as a state, as a nation, as an authority, as a government, we need to have a very clear boundary of the distinction between, because our destination, you cannot be selfish. If I'm running a nightclub and then, oh, I want this street, I do what I like, it's not fair. It has to be inclusive, it has to be thoughtful, it has to be mindful about what people offer, to each other, and without that, tourism cannot sustain.
Right.
Right?
Right. And
Yes.
are there emerging tourism trends Nepal should capitalize on?
Oh, yes. um, Look, Nepal is in a radar, and as I already mentioned, that we want the high spending tourist also, right? Who doesn't want it? So we call it high value, low volume tourism is what Nepal can be ambitious on in certain destination, right? It's true. We have the product, but what do they want? What do they want? And that's the people who want to spend $20,000 in a week and want to go back with an excellent experience, right? Maybe I have made all my money, but I want to feel good. I want to get in touch with myself. What is there to offer the nation? Do we have a seamless visa service? Do we have a facility where they can really somebody can curate the experience? Can I have the meal that I want? Can I have a reliable, I mean, do I have an infrastructure that is supporting my expectation? Can I get a meal that I want to have, in that destination? All those things comes as a package. So hospitality and tourism is nothing but we are the architect of experience, right? So if we are designing experience for low spender, high spender, regardless who, the human truth is everybody wants to be recognized. Maybe somebody who pays only 500 bucks in a cheap lodge in Tamil also want to be recognized, want to sleep peacefully in the night, want to have the basic guaranteed, right? And so if we are ambitious about going earning the prosperity through tourism, and offering employment, and creating a narrative about Nepal, what kind of destination Nepal want to be, and those basics has to be sorted out. And the role of a government, as I mentioned, is let's take example of Marfa. Marfa to me is like the destination the tourists want to spend a night with. But if you allow that Marfa to build another concrete house or a glass house or few other thing and distort what we have, Mapa is gone. And so similarly, one by another, there's Bandipur, for example. Bandipur, there's little straight and wide road where you can walk. There's no vehicle, and then beautiful Newari architect. And if you allow other people to build whatever they want to build, that's the end of Bandipur. And so the authority, the government, the guardian has to be mindful. And yeah, well, who is government? Local government, provincial government, the federal government, and it's not necessarily everybody knows everything. It's not possible. But when you are making a strategy, when you are making a long-term plan, when you're making a long-term vision, there are people who knows things, who has idea. You need to include them, and then include the idea, so that collectively we can form the policy, so that Nepal can really boast about what we have to offer.
Right, right. Khemji, and how do you see Nepal's, luxury tourism sector evolving right now?
A lot of good things are happening. I'm not pessimist about it. I mean, highways are being built. The government, provincial government particularly, is competitive now. Or this province has done this. I want to do this, which is good in a democracy, right? So that is a good thing. There's a Himalayan travel mart. Recently, we just concluded the fifth version of Himalayan travel was concluded. We had buyers from 30 different nationalities, sellers from 6 different nationalities, right? And so they were there, and so they were fascinated. But well, the downside of it, they were offered a fam trip to Chitwan and to Pokhara, and well, that's private sector is absolutely generous. They're really lovely people, despite the challenges they face, be it in the COVID, be it in different disaster, be it in the earthquake. I salute to all the entrepreneurs, business people who run, take risk, and run the business, whatever they are running, be it a lodge or be it a five-star hotel, be it whatever it is. They're generous. They all want to contribute, but state, a government, um, is not willing to sit down together and ask this question: how can I help you? What do you need? What can I do in terms of policy so that you do better? Those things are still lacking. And so we need to, the state has to now demonstrate in a local level, in a federal level, in a provincial level, that tourism is a force for good, as a form. That's the only way how Nepal will be known in the rest of the world. So not only a currency, foreign currency earner, but it's also a narrative setter. And so this collective good for the nation, collective good for the nation. It should be sensitized to all level, so that tourism professionals, be it transportation, the bus operator, the taxi operator, nobody wants to feel cheated. So if I'm in a city like Kathmandu, I have an app and I call a taxi, it runs on a meter, nobody tries to cheat me, things like fundamentals of a human truth. Now, so we need to regulate those things. So state doesn't have to do much. People will know how to attract people, and they will make all the effort anyway. Entrepreneurs are magic, but a state only has a responsibility to recognize that, and any policy they make, keep those players, the stakeholder, in mind, so that not that the policy they make serves them, but serves the entrepreneurs, serves the stakeholders, serves the tourist. So
Right, right. Khemji, one last questions for today's program is, if you could implement one major change to transform Nepal's tourism sector, what would it be?
the tourism sector in Nepal is matured compared to many destinations, right? It's matured, but our tourism exists for over 50 years already, right? So Nepal is known in the world. But what we need to do now is we need to do a fundamental job. Nepalese government, entrepreneurs, tourism board, all the organizations have to sit together in one room and say, what do we want Nepal to be known for? Is it a backpackers destination? Is it a mountaineering and training? Is it a well-being destination, wellness destination, whatever it is? And how do you define that? So meaning we need to make a strategic plan for next 5 years, next 10 years. We need to understand our carrying capacity. We need to make a clear boundary of this is what we should do and should not do. Maybe online visa and online payment is closer than we imagine in this technology, fast-paced technology. But those are the bottom line. What upsets tourists, and we need to start collecting data. It doesn't matter how bitter it is. So we need to learn from the happy tourist, and we can learn even more from the unhappy tourist. So we collect the data and we make evidence-based decisions. And I can give you one example, which would help. Um, for example, my latest inspiration, believe it or not, is a Saudi Arabia. This was never known as a tourism destination except for those pilgrims who would go to Mecca and Medina. But other than that, Saudi and tourism is like antonym, and nobody thought about it. But believe it or not, in the next 5 years, Saudi Arabia is going to be one of the renowned tourism hub. So they have captured, they are working on philosophy, the strategic definition of what Saudi hospitality means. And now, how do you demonstrate that in the street, in the food, in the offering, in the destination? So that's exactly what we need to do. So we call it, oh, Nepalese are hospitable and this, that, wonderful. But what does that mean? What does that mean by Nepalese food? What does that mean by Nepalese hospitality? What is our commonality? What is our difference? And how do we package it? How do we sensitize it? How must a highway person selling a cup of tea should behave? What are their non-negotiables? And so those things has to be now discussed. Framework, this is the tourism, this is how we demonstrate it, this is how we protect our destination, this is how we demonstrate that we are sustainable destination, this is how we show that when we are grappling with the climate crisis, Nepal is doing the best it can. How do we demonstrate that? How do we translate that into that? So we need to sit down and really jot down and segmentize, this is what we should do. And then this is a roadmap. And once you have a roadmap, and once you have a vision, long-term, mid-term, and short-term vision, and then bring everyone into the ownership, because tourism cannot develop in isolation. Everyone matters.
Right.
The language our tour guide speak matters. The host community, what they do matters. Everyone matters. So we have to bring everyone into the collective pride, and then Nepal can definitely benefit from the tourism. Yes.
Definitely, Khemji, Nepal can definitely benefit from tourism. On that note, I really like to thank you for your time, and I really appreciate the kind of contribution that you are making at your personal level to enhance Nepal's tourism sector as well. So thank you so much, and I wish you good luck on all the efforts that you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much for talking to me, and wish you all the best with your conversations. Thank you.